Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really have any like serious outlines for today. I just wanted to like hear about your trip, how you guys like Hawaii, and if there's any kind of collaboration that we can have. I mean, honestly, I've been focusing so much on like the metaverse, and I'll have to go into my project details, but I really do love the idea of actually doing things in real life because that is ultimately like what we're here to do. So yeah, I just wanted to hear about first maybe like how you guys, or Sterling, how you made the trip over.
Well, it came down to just kind of spontaneous kind of invitation from my friend. She already knew about Workaway and this whole kind of program and how it works. And she wanted to go to Hawaii for some time. And then, just out of all the hosts that I've, messaged and reached out to, Sidra was the only one who, was the first one, and still only one of two people who have reached out. And it was kind of just that instant kind of click, especially getting here and kind of knowing she's into crypto and she understands the blockchain and all of that stuff. It really kind of, that click went even deeper. And especially with kind of the vision I've had for my collection, I think the main purpose of the Spiritual DAO as well kind of lines up to what she wants to do with this land. And I see the NFTs being something that can be a real world utility, could be here on this property. And there's a lot of projects that are doing a lot of stuff utility, like let's say like I know Apocalyptic Apes coffee, which here so many things that can be done and so many utilities that can come out of a project, that if we can kind of merge the physical world and the metaverse, Web3 in one thing. So that's why when I have the chance, Wi-Fi is a bit of a struggle at the moment, but when I have the chance, I had to reach out to you and let you know, like, there's something seriously big here, that if we were to get like a designer, like a 3D designer, as well as a smart contract developer, we can get something really going here that can really make a huge difference in the world, and over the next few years be able to be known all around the place and help millions, if not billions of people.
Yeah, the first thought I had was like with BitMat. So he's up in, I think, New York, and he's like an actual farmer as well. It seems like he's a similar kind of project going. I'm not sure exactly like what he's growing or what his goals are with that, but I've always loved the idea of like him. He's very, I think he has a different approach to like farming and just growing his own like crops. Definitely a deeper perspective than what I initially would have had if I was in his place. And there's something to that I think we can definitely use this kind of technology to share that with as many people as possible. And like right now there's like these tutorial videos on YouTube that's like, oh, just water this plant, like maybe throw some magnets in your water, like do these different tweaks. But I think there's more like of an interactive and like immersive experience that can really make some kind of meaningful difference.
Exactly. I just, like, when I was talking to him, it just kind of like an older memory came back to me. When I was younger, we were doing PlayStation, and there was a game on PlayStation called Cast Away, and you basically actually wake up on an island. You were in a shipwreck and you wake up on an island, and you have to start from scratch, and you have to kind of build from that, and there's more levels to it. And so I was more, when we bought this farm, it kind of did feel like, we did like kind of wash up on an island, and and now what we're doing on the farm right now is we're literally starting from scratch. We're literally digging the ground and creating our own shelters and trying to grow our own food. And so that in itself is like, in the past, how many years ago I played a video game, and I'm actually living it. Yeah. And that's where I thought, well, this is where the real life application comes in, like if there's like a video game and then there's a back-end actual farm that does the same thing as well, or when you invest into it, or when you're playing into it, you're also maybe getting access to the actual farm and being able to have a real experience of the video game as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that. Like in my head, there's like two different aspects to it. There's actually like knowing how to grow plants from seed to like actual getting the harvest, and then there's having the equipment such as the seeds themselves. And I really do like the idea of having, let's say like I join this like community, and virtually I can plant that seed that maybe like you guys in real life actually plant, and you guys somehow grow it. I mean, do you have any thoughts about that? I feel like there's something there.
Yeah. It's a great idea. I think this we could definitely we can go deeper into this and think more about. It's a good idea, actually.
So like what kind of what is like the climate like made for in Hawaii? Like what kind of crops do you guys typically grow? Or, like what do you plan to grow?
It's very tropical. We have coffee, we have a lot of tropical fruit trees, and we're trying to grow more fruit trees. We're also going to try and have educational classes as well, which is why I thought of the metaverse. Like you can have a similar educational class in the metaverse, and then once you've experienced in the metaverse and you feel more called to actually experience in real life, you can actually fly over to Hawaii and actually do it in real life as well.
100%. Even then, like we have this marketplace that we're creating, and I like the idea of like, let's say I'm in Virginia right now, and maybe I would love to start planting something, but I don't have any of the supplies. Yes, I could go to Home Depot, but I think it would be nice if we can even like maybe create these like packages, like, oh, this is the right soil, this is like how you treat the soil, this is the right water, this is how much, this is like the tools that you should actually be using. Like maybe we can create some kind of package for that as well. I know Sterling's big on like the whole like the seed bank, and I think there is actually a lot of like merit to having that. And I think ultimately we want to help as many people in the community as possible, and I just keep on like jumping from like idea to idea, and it seems like a lot of these ideas are on the assumption that the metaverse is going to be like here, and it's very like interactive and realistic, and that may be, let's say maybe a year from now, that could be 5 or 10 years from now, and I'm trying to think of like what are like the first steps that we can take to go in towards that direction.
Initially for the NFT project, I'm not sure if I really talked too much about it with you, about the design and stuff like that. We can go more into the design aspect of the collection off, when it's not recording. But for the most part, we were thinking like I am taking photos, update photos, and having a collection, NFT collection that's just the whole progress of this entire village that we're creating, because we're literally creating a village from the ground up, like down in that area way down there. We have our kind of tent set up, where we are, weed whacking and removing all of the grass and everything like that. But as well as having an actual NFT collection that, as I was going into before, really highlights various different cultures and traditions. And I feel like phase 1 of this can be just in Hawaii, and eventually we expand to other cultures, other parts of the world, and do very similar things, kind of under the umbrella of the blissful family that we're trying to create here. I feel like being able to do something here, can really get things started, because we are creating a village with the aloha spirit, which is very, all about, a Hana family. And it's something that, we can really use as, like I said, that phase 1 for building a spiritual ecosystem, where we aren't stopping at just Hawaii, but even able to go to, like, let's say Japan, and eventually use the money from the collections to kind of keep growing and expanding to different parts of the world with different cultures. Like, she does know one of the kind of like gurus or teachers of Hawaii who knows all of the lore, all of the culture, all of the traditions that can come host teachings. Even in the metaverse, we can set something up for that, as well as having yoga and meditation events and other things here, because as you can see, this isn't just a normal farm. It's on the side of one of the most sacred mountains in Hawaii. So the energy is extremely spiritual.
Yeah, my first thought is like the coffee you said. I think it would be cool. Like you're taking pictures for these NFTs, but like, what if we took a picture like of the seed, and your NFT is pretty much the seed, and then like you guys actually plant it, and when the harvest comes, the owners of the actual NFT will get shipped like some homegrown coffee or something like
Coffee or
that.
something. Yes.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yes.
That'd be a really interesting.
I feel like everyone's just selling these like digital arts that there's no like actual like IRL connection, and I think bringing it, maybe we don't have to sell it for like $300, but we can just make it actually like realistic, kind of bring it back down, as if you're kind of grocery shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like the price of the seed would be like the price of the bag of coffee, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, they get their bag of coffee, but they sort of ordered it through buying an NFT.
Yeah. You can even give them like an extra seed and like the instructions on how to like grow it themselves, so they don't have to come by and buy again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like when I started really diving into the metaverse was, how can I make like a metaverse where people can go in and be enriched and come out and be able to live life, actually live it, be able to plant and grow and sustain ourselves. Because if anything does happen in the world, we do need to know how to feed ourselves. We do need to know how to build, places to sleep, all of that. We need to know everything.
How is this metaverse going to be any different from any video games that my kids play these days, like the Roblox and
I would say, yeah. I mean, right now, I think a lot of like the Roblox, for example, it's like you're on like your phone and it's all on the screen and you're kind of separate from it. And I think with time, it's almost going to be like you are one of the characters.
You're in it.
Yeah, pretty much. But yes, like that could go in the direction of like some mindless video games that are like purely for like social entertainment. But I think we can actually start building, and we are actually starting to build in whatever direction that we see fit. And so right now we have just a music venue that, I mean, honestly, if we're trying to use that for just like either live events or just 24/7, like kind of nice binaural beats that are gonna play for people to kind of hang out with. But Ronnie's our designer, and he's building this like spiritual hub right now, and that's where I really do see, like, I first thought of like the Wim Hof breathing, like we have him in like an area. But now that you know people in Hawaii that can actually like gurus, they can come, and I do think that it's gonna be a much more like desirable place to be. As of like right now, it's just going to be like on your computer screen, so we're kind of holding off on it until like it is actually like fully immersive and it's more mainstream, I'd say. So we do have some time, but that means we're just building and we're ready to kind of create the structure for that to be part of our like, I guess, ecosystem when the time comes.
Main real questions is, for our end, how can we really, let's say, start building a NFT collection, when it comes to a smart contract developer, as well as, a 3D designer? Are you able to kind of help? Because I do see this being a branch off of the Spiritual DAO.
100%.
A spiritual thing, like I've expressed before, I see the Spiritual DAO being the backbone for hundreds or thousands of projects that are all spiritually rooted. And we can build our communities that kind of come together and function as one whole, but we have our kind of separate, we have our space between one another where we can enjoy our own space as well as dive into other collections, other communities, but still feel welcomed and still have that, family feeling to it. So I'm like, with the Capricorns, I haven't been updated or really in tune with if you guys have released that yet, but I'm not sure what other projects you kind of have lined up, but I see this being something extremely big, mainly because one of the hardest things is getting the utility of the real world, and we kind of have it here. So it's like with Bored Ape Yacht Club, being able to own that NFT, you get to go and be invited to yacht parties and mansion parties. Here, you essentially get invited to this Hawaii resort, where it's just on a farm where you can really live that kind of more natural lifestyle, living in, down in
basically connect with nature, wake up to like a yoga lesson and then spend the rest of the day in nature. I think that, like to have a back-end utility that they can come and have that experience too.
100%. That's like all I really want, is to be able to go out into nature like that. So I definitely do like the idea of like you buy an NFT and on the back end there is like some real life kind of I don't say consequences, but there's more utility, I'd say, like just how you described. And my main focus is trying to make this like well known to people, because like, yes, there's so many NFT projects out there, but how do we like kind of really convey this message? Because I mean, I personally vibe with it. I'm sure plenty of other people would as well. Yeah. And the marketing is just something that's always challenged, at least me with this Astral Kingdom project. But no, we haven't released quite yet, and honestly, we are kind of waiting until we have the community that's ready. We're trying to like just look for investment right now to try to get some like a bigger marketing budget to kind of build some hype. But right now, we're just kind of building in all kinds of different directions. I think this is definitely one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, she does have some drone footage, and she kind of did already offer, you know, like if anyone on the team, especially someone who is, you know, well in depth with the knowledge of smart contracts, especially, you know, to be able to build that. If anyone on the team is able to fly out to Hawaii for a couple weeks, she does have a couple Airbnbs here that she can, you know, because having a few, you know, Web3 people, just complete degens, just living here, being able to get their experience here, work on the farm a little bit, and then record at the end of the 2 weeks, kind of.
Like, how do they feel still doing their computer thing, but like a completely different environment, and like what their experience was?
Because we want to get together like a 15-minute video that can really stand out, and we can just be like, look, this is what we're all about, this is what we're trying to do, here's some experience from some people. And you know, I think that video is going to be something that we can really use, because there are like a waterfall like not too far from here, you know, so it's really the space, it's truly amazing. Like when I stepped foot on the property, I'm like, I don't know if I can go back home.
The waterfall you haven't been to yet, it looks like you're in Jurassic Park. I'm not even joking. It's very dramatic, and so it is a very, very special place, and I know we can do something amazing with it. And I'm also very interested in all this new talk that you guys are talking, whatever it's called. Yes. And
so two things. The first one is like, so do you guys plan with the space? Would you prefer having people come in, or do you plan on like kind of growing things and shipping things out, or both?
It's more for us. It's more people coming for an experience.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I was thinking it could be a lot of that experience to earn, you know.
We can definitely ship coffee out too. We can definitely ship coffee out.
I mean, I think both is definitely. That sounds amazing. And then so the back end guy that we have with the Astral Kingdom, he is part of the team, but he's based in like the Netherlands. So that'd be quite the hike. Of course, I'm pretty sure it is just him. He's like the manager. So I don't know if he has other back-end developers underneath him, but I know he has the front-end developers, but I'm pretty sure that he's capable of handling all the back-end. And then Ronnie's our designer, but he does virtual environments. And so we kind of had to outsource our actual like NFT character 3D designs. And those people are based out, I think they're based in India. So again, it's like across the whole globe. But, but I think there is something there with the actually like getting people to come to you guys in Hawaii. I mean, there's the difficulty of like sending just random people. If we were to do like a giveaway, just like people that maybe bought the NFT, we would send like one lucky person to you guys. But it's more you guys want to actually kind of gain some benefit of having them there as well. It's not just like a free, all expensive paid trip for a vacation or something like that.
Because the experience here is being able to connect with nature, you know, do some gardening.
Someone who's never left their basement, we want them to come and live with us.
Two ends of the whole spectrum. I like that.
So what you see your point, it will be kind of challenging to really find someone who is willing to not just come here and stay as it's a vacation, but someone who's here for an experience, ready to, you know, jump in and get dirty, you know, and, you know, being able to just kind of select around a person like that isn't going to be an easy task.
I wouldn't say it's going to be an easy task, but I think if anyone, this is the community that may have the right people for that role. So I'm optimistic about it. I mean, I would fit that role myself, but I got a lot going on right now. But definitely, I do like that idea. I'm sure we can find someone when the time is actually right.
Cool.
Yeah, because we're in the very, very early stages. You know, I'd say maybe a couple months out, maybe a month out, having someone here might be good. Because by then we should have more.
We'll have a setup in a couple of months. Yeah. Totally.
But being able to at least, you know, on our end, kind of plan out the NFTs and figure out kind of that stuff. You know, we can do that. But you know, when it comes to any of the back end type of stuff, that's something where we do need to kind of stay more in touch with.
Yeah, I would say I overestimated the complexity of the back end when I first began. It really is actually not the most difficult. I mean, yes, it is like technical, but it's not like super intense and like long. Like it can be done relatively quickly. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. If anything, the art is actually what takes quite some time.
Yeah.
Wow. And so is that for the Blissful family? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I was thinking with the Blissful family, it can be, you know, Ohana is, you know, means family. You know, I feel like phase one can be, you know, Ohana, and then around the world we have in their native language family, and have collections that kind of, let's say, share the same base, but the whole, like all the traits and everything are geared towards that culture, that tradition. So we can have essentially the umbrella of the Blissful family can have, let's say, 10 different collections, but together it makes up like 100,000 NFTs or something like that. So it can really bring the world together as one family under that Blissful family tree. That way, you know, even if we wanted to make different games, we can have something smaller in different parts of the world, kind of themed around different places, kind of in the same metaverse, but have like a hub world like you said you were making, and just kind of branch out and have little like islands around the world that does different things for each culture. And you know, we can kind of like travel to each one and experience what the Native Americans kind of have to offer, and you know what the Native Hawaiians have to offer, and all that stuff.
Down to Peru, up to Tibet, everywhere.
I mean, I do love that a lot, and that's why I'm so like kind of excited about the metaverse, is because we can combine all of that in like a realistic way, as if you're actually exploring it in real life. But then again, like you guys actually have the real life area that we want to get to.
The big part.
That's why like, we have the metaverse for like everyone to experience, and then we have your area for like, I guess, the smaller number of people to experience, and there's got to be some way to connect the two.
Yeah, easily. I think it's possible, and like I said many times, you know, the Spiritual DAO is that hub world, that hub in general, where you're gonna see many projects. I don't want to say like this, but just with that same kind of intention, kind of come to the Spiritual DAO at some point and just branch off and be able to create something and have the community and the resources and the networking within this community itself, where, you know, like with us, it's like there's a land already here. That's one of the biggest kind of things, is that real world utility. And now we just have to try to bring this into the metaverse, into NFTs and Web3, and bring this, which I feel like is a bit of an easier task than kind of bringing something out of the metaverse and into real life.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, we're certainly in this for the long run. It's not going anywhere, and we saw. Honestly, I'm really focused on just building the team of people that are making like consistent progress, because the technology is going to come sooner rather than later, and whenever that is ready, then I want us to be ready. And it seems like right now we're just brainstorming these ideas to kind of like polish them, kind of refine them, so that
I agree.
Whatever progress we're making, it is most aligned with whatever our intention is, and I think it's a good first start.
Yeah, I feel like I still like the idea of using Astral Kingdom is kind of this Genesis, you know, collection to really get things going. But, you know, I feel like this project alone, with what in this land and what we can do here, I don't want to say can overshadow it, but can really be that real driving force where the Spiritual DAO becomes a globally known DAO that everyone's trying to be a part of. you know. But with the Astral Kingdom, that is the early birds. That really is the people who find out early and get to experience a lot of those benefits long term because of how early things are. And like even here, I feel like, let's say someone comes for 2 weeks, they book a stay because they own one of the NFTs. They come here, they work hard, and we recognize their hard work here, and we even give them some crypto, whether it's MEEP or whether it's something else that is our own within our own DAO. Still being able to reward people in that way, where you can either buy it or you can earn it from experience. And, you know, it's something where we can track because it is on the blockchain, being able to know who's here, whose wallet's whose, and, you know, all of that. So
it's like, in a way, like you've bought the NFT and you've bought the experience with it. But when you come and you work, that experience generates income. And so you get paid for the work that you're putting in too, and you get paid in crypto.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's where we're trying to form the fungible tokens right now. And we formed like a verbal partnership with, so like right now the Astral Kingdom is not supposed to be like the end all be all NFTs of the Spiritual DAO. It's just like our little like slice of the pie. And we partnered with like one of the first ones is the little Krishnas, and he's a member of the Discord.
I'm glad I was there because I brought him in.
That's right.
I'm like, look, you need to get in there, and he's only 13.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And I'm glad you guys were able to do that because I seen so much potential in him.
Yeah, no, I actually like I had a whole conversation with him, and then after just like at the very end, I finally realized that you were the one that brought him in, and so that was even more worthwhile to like, kind of form this connection with you. But yeah, no, right now like we're making it so that let's say someone bought like a little Krishnu, then they would also gain entry into the Spiritual DAO. It's not supposed to be like you have to buy the Astral Kingdom, so that's going to be applicable to everyone. And I'm just mainly focusing on like the tooling and everything. Like right now, buying or actually forming those like fungible tokens that we would reward people with in like that experience to earn. That is, it's somewhat complicated, but I mean we're making progress, and I think that is going to be the next first step.
What came to mind just now is because I brought up that whole idea of the seeds, you know, being able to give them like seeds is the NFTs that look like seeds, and over time they grow. You can plant them in a virtual garden. It's really interesting how we talked about that, and all of a sudden here we are. But maybe we can use the people who work here, instead of giving them just the NFTs, we can give them like popes, you know, the proof of authentication protocol. And they can use those and stake them on the website and earn X amount daily. And depending on which one they earned, it like especially how early on they earned it, you know, we can track, okay, these people have been here earlier, they're getting a larger sum. And then, you know, it kind of stabilizes over time. That way, the early birds who are here can earn that passive income that's even more through that staking that we can implement. But like I said, that's just ideas.
I think
everything seems to really be aligning really well. So
yeah, I mean, the more I stress about the actual action that's being taken, the slower things actually happen. So just kind of like letting go and like letting things kind of unwind effortlessly has definitely been what I found to be just best for everyone involved. But I definitely think Alex is looking into like that Pope's idea, because we do want to reward people that were in here early. You know, like, that's kind of how I think we're going to kind of build that organic mass of people that don't want to leave. So there's definitely a lot that could be potentially done there. And again, like I think just maintaining these connections and kind of growing our base and just finding the right people that want to work alongside with us, because I mean, like I said, we're in this for the long run, and I think there's nothing but success in our future. So we got to find people that are like kind of subscribing to the goal that we collectively are forming, and we're set.
Yeah, I agree. I like you know, like you said about the technology, it's until we get to VR being the standard, making the metaverse like it just on a 2D screen isn't really, you know, personally my whole vision of a metaverse. So really fleshing out and, you know, getting that foundation set over these next few months is going to be really important, or over, you know, this next year or two. But I feel NFTs can really, you know, like you said, the Astral Kingdom is your kind of little slice. And I feel like with time, once you get to the end, the 12th collection there, you're going to be able to, the art is going to consistently improve, the community is going to keep improving, and I see that being something that's going to be very long term in itself. And like I said, being able to have other ones like Little Krishnas, and even whatever we're able to make here can kind of all come together and be those our voting rights within the DAO itself. You know, we want to be able to make it so anyone who's associated with any project that's using the DAO is still feeling that, okay, we're a part of this, one whole thing.
Yeah.
And I feel that's why I said, you know, the Spiritual DAO is going to be here long term, because it's not just one project partnering with 2 or 3. It's a whole DAO system that is finding and partnering with hundreds or thousands of projects that are spiritually minded here to make a positive difference. And it makes the community much, much bigger, and can really make a bigger impact when we all come together as one. So I'm excited to see where things go. I feel extremely blessed I'm able to land here, especially with her and how she understands the blockchains. And when I started explaining what NFTs were to her, her brain just lit up, and it's like our whole vision and wavelength just kind of met at that point. And I really feel like that when we spoke the first time is just kind of like, okay, we kind of have the same vision here. And it's just slowly expanding, and the right people and the right things are coming together. And like you said, being able to just be unclutched and do the work necessary every day, but not really be attached to this is the long-term goal, because it's going to constantly be changing. Like, there's no way either of us knew 3 weeks ago this land as a utility was even available. So we can really do so much, and this project can, I see, especially with just this land alone, if we really do something with the art the right way and have many utilities and things set up the right way, that this can become a project where millions and millions of people are talking about it, and bringing so much attention from around the world that people just want to come here. So I'm excited to see where things go, and I'm glad we're able to meet so soon instead of being able to wait another week, because this is something I really wanted to share with you.
100%. I mean, again, like my mind is kind of like flooding with just different ideas, and I'll have to bring everything back to, I guess, the rest of the team. I'm meeting with them in person tomorrow, so I'll see what their thoughts are. I'm sure like they have plenty of ideas, and we can try to maybe form a nice team meeting and kind of discuss everything as a group and see like what kind of actionable steps can we take moving forward.
Yeah, and like I said, if anyone, especially who's more familiar with the technical side of things, it doesn't necessarily have to be the complete back end, but just a more broad and deep overview of NFTs, Metaverse, Web3, because I'm still fairly new, and I haven't done too much research. But when you speak to them tomorrow, if anyone has a open slot within a month from now or something like that, where they're able to come for 2 weeks, we can provide everything, make sure they have a really good experience, as well as, you know, educating us even deeper onto things and kind of giving them a first-hand experience of what we can do here and what can be accomplished, so they can go back to you and everyone else and be like, okay, I got the experience, now let's really make something here. Yeah,
I'll make them even more spiritual too. That's perfect.
Maybe you'll take some time out and come and visit us.
Yeah, you got to.
That is on my calendar for sure. Yeah, no doubt about that. I need to get out of this cold and rainy Virginia.
Yeah, this is our cold.
Yep. This is our winter right now.
Yeah, it does rain, but
yeah, I'd probably stay for more than 2 weeks though. I would never want to come back.
That's true.
Yeah, finding the timing, because like if we, let's say for example, had it on the website where whoever owns NFT can like first come first serve, can like book a certain day, and like let's say month or something, like 2 week period or 3 week period or whatever it may be, they can book that, and then all those addresses can kind of be like randomly gone through, and like let's say golden tickets are sent out, and they spend an extra fee of like let's say 0.1 ETH, and then that gets them capability of getting one of these like Airbnb houses like this, for example, where they can actually, you know, stay there for the time period instead of staying down in the village. But that's going to be something that's really on the technical side. We're really going to have to work out. But there is that idea, at least within me, to kind of say, screw Airbnb, let's just do it all through blockchain.
Yeah.
Everyone, all the employees, whoever comes, all through, whether it be MEEP or Bitcoin or Ethereum, or if we create our own crypto, whatever it may be, being able to provide that as a form of currency here on this farm, as well as going further to other farms in other countries, and that, where everyone can kind of, have that NFT access to the world for all the cultures. People can go get spiritual and just understand the original and authentic kind of teachings that are on that land, in that culture, because the internet has a lot of things, but a lot of it's diluted. So in person is always a better spot. So we can really do something to make an extremely, extremely big and positive impact in the world. Years.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was trying to find, I know Wade is in this, it's in our Discord, and he is actually working, he's from Bali, where he's based in Bali right now. And he's creating it's almost like a knockoff of Airbnb, but based on like spiritual settings. And that seems like something that's right up that alley of like what you described. And you said that you'd film the video to give more of like a background of the actual location itself.
Yes.
Yeah, she has drone footage, but we need, like I said, if we can get like 2 people to kind of come and stay a little bit, so we can record their experiences, whether it's just me or one other person or 2 other people, as well as, let's just say me and her kind of sit down and kind of give a little explanation of what we're trying to do here and how we're trying to use this NFT collection and how we can use the blockchain and all of that to bring real world utility. And I do have some connections with some founders of a couple other projects who I may be able to work some stuff out, work some deals out. And, we can really do something that is, just bringing people together, because it does take a village, and that's, we're in the process of making one here. So
yeah, like literally.
We're really experiencing that firsthand, not just on the digital aspect of creating a team people around the world, but being able to create a harmonious living space between us, where we can use that experience, that understanding, to try to bring that to the digital. I feel like a lot of these projects are going the opposite route and bringing digital to physical, and we are now able to go the right route, which I think would be right, which is bringing physical into digital.
Yeah.
Like I said, even having a collection where we're just uploading all of the progress for the land is just another stream of income to help build this land, because like she said, there's 10 acres and that's a lot of land to kind of develop and work on and build stuff, especially if we can eventually host 2,000 people at one point. Being able to have that collection where there's no utility behind it, but it's just that early access to, look, you own a part of history right here, the early stages or even the end results in, photos, and then having the actual artistic 3D rendered art as NFTs that kind of are generated, but using all of the culture's assets, put it that way.
Yeah, and something I actually just wrapped up today was we're creating this mirror post, which is just a platform that's used for like crowdfunding, and part of like the actual money that we hopefully raise would be used to funding the community members' trips to different events. And so recently we just went out to Las Vegas and we met up with some other projects there, and that was incredibly like fulfilling. We just made so many connections and had such a great time that really seeing people's like actual reactions in person to just our project, the art, everything. It was so nice to see, and we wanted to keep on doing that. And there's so many popping up, so many different events and like conferences, and I don't see that your place as being any different than that. I feel like we could definitely start trying to raise this money to fund not just like myself to go, but we ideally kind of spread that out to cover as many people's travel expenses as possible.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, because I do see that the Spiritual DAO being the main hub, as well as the LLC that I have, I want to talk more with you about that soon.
Yeah.
And using that and having that is something that is associated into the spiritual DAO, because it's going to bring a lot of stress off a lot of people's shoulders, as well as, you know, using that to help fund the spiritual DAO itself for any movements in the big ship, the big actual big tree itself. And then have, you know, all the other DAOs kind of associated, kind of use some of their like, let's say with Astral Kingdom, a percentage of that can go into the spiritual DAO treasury, and with Little Krishna, a small percentage of that can also go into the treasury, where they keep the majority for funding their project, keeping that forward, but also building the spiritual DAO as a whole. And if we have 1,000 projects where a small percentage is going towards that, that can be something where, oh, there's this, you know, big earthquake or a volcano erupting, or something happens where we have so much money in the spiritual DAO where we can, you know, have the community decide, should we go and help these people out, and have, let's say, $5 trillion sitting there where we can be like, okay, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
That's why I was, as soon as I seen the spiritual DAO, I was like, I felt so drawn to you guys, especially your energy that you have personally. I was like, there's something big happening here, and we need to grow.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of a DAO itself, in my eyes, is actually very spiritual, just like the collective movement, and we're all kind of like working together to achieve a collective goal. I think once people really start to like, maybe first conceptually understand like what a DAO is and like how it's organized, but then once people actually start like getting involved with maybe some standard ones, like the biggest ones, then people will start understanding the actual workings of the DAO like on a day-to-day, and then people are immediately going to start looking to like religious ones, spiritual ones, and I think that's exactly where we're going to start catching the eyes of all people.
Yeah, because spirituality is not just a trend or a fad, it is the direction we're moving in human history. We're so tired of being spiritually exploited, and we're kind of realizing that the people in charge are doing that. And, you know, what we're doing here, the whole it's such a, like, spirituality in itself is such a healing process, you know, like coming to this land, spending time here, working on it, you know, it's so rewarding being able to plant a seed and eventually be able to eat the fruit, or clear out an area and build a big, like, chilling center where you can cook, where you can watch movies, you can hang out all together and do all of that. And, you know, that's why being able to have people here, you know, get a collection going where we can start even getting people from the blockchain to kind of come out here and, you know, work and earn this crypto or whatever it may be, so then they can kind of feel that reward that, you know, I did Forex for a while, trading on the foreign exchange, and I made a lot of good money, but it just wasn't rewarding. Sitting there on my phone making money, it was just kind of like, that's it. Like, there's no real fulfillment. And, you know, I would rather have like a couple of days of just working on the land here than all the money I made through that, because it's tiring, but at the end of the day, you feel like you accomplished something. And the spiritual DAO, I see being something where people are going to come together. Like, I want to feel fulfilled doing something, and, you know, it's going to be big. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, writing this mirror post, I had to like actually define like what spirituality means, at least to us, and the definition I ended up going with was like the quality of being concerned with the human spirit rather than like these physical items. And in my eyes, the physical items would be like the metaverse and everything like that. And we ultimately just want to use those to boost the human spirit. And that's so broadly defined that whether we're using the NFTs to fund people's trips to come actually like bond in person, that is just one like manifestation of it. And I think the outcomes are endless.
Yeah, I really liked how you summed that up. It really does show like the extent of what's possible with just that definition, because it's not really limiting there.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can do so much, like, you know, being able to allow people to come here, or let's say any part of the world where we have something set up. And, you know, some people might want a tropical experience, some people might want to just be like living in the mountains completely, working on a little farm there or something, you never know. And giving people all sorts of experiences where they are engaged with life, because that's what we're here for, that's why we're alive. And focusing on raising our spirit is
But what's the
so
biggest
important.
criticism on NFT from people from my generation? You're basically paying that much money for what? A JPEG, right? That's the biggest criticism, right? And then if we merge that with an actual real life utility, then it's not just a JPEG, you know? There's a lot more that comes with it.
That's why I like this, the NFT being known, especially for this project, being known for just an access card or an access token.
Yeah.
Because rather than calling it an NFT, it's your access into this village, into this community, into this whole spiritual ecosystem, rather than it just being like, you know, oh, I own this something digital and I can stake it and earn crypto, and, you know, they host these events online and all that stuff. It's like, no, like, here's what we have to offer, like all of this land, all of this experience, but the only way to really be involved here is by buying the NFT. And I feel like that's a great way of approaching it, because it's not just seen as a JPEG, it's literally an access that you pay for, like a subscription, essentially.
It seems like that argument that's saying like, oh, it's just a JPEG, it seems like a last like ditched like kind of defense mechanism. And once we actually bring that like actual like real life utility to it, then people like, I think that people are going to dive straight into it. And from there, I think that's where like the real mainstream utility is just gonna be so apparent.
Because my biggest challenge with the whole NFT thing, which I just recently understood, because he keeps talking at me about all this computer stuff, and I'm like, you know, eventually something will get in. And he keeps saying things, and I'm like, no, stop saying everything. Just tell me, how does this apply to me and my farm here? You know? So people are actually looking for an NFT application, and here's an application, here's a farm, apply it to me, and if you can apply it to me, you can apply it to everything, right? And so that's how we came up with, here's the application, the experience.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good starting point, and I think by the time like we're actually starting to like build towards that destination, maybe the end goal may just morph here and there, like kind of just become more like solid in our minds and like actually like a reality. But for now, I mean, I think that's an awesome like goal to start working towards.
Cool. We're excited.
Yeah, no, me too, for sure. I think we have a good group here, and but yeah, I mean, honestly, I appreciate you guys for coming on and speaking, and I think there's a lot more that we have to work on, but I mean, I look forward to it. Feels like play.
Us too. Thank you for your time too. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah.